After being presented with the new way of looking at digital citizenship, I decided to take a close look at how sites we use in the classroom use our personal information and specifically to model and promote management of personal data and digital identity and to protect student data privacy. I chose three sites that had three things in common. One, they're all ones that I use on a regular basis. Two, they all require the student to create an account. And three, they only asked for a minimum amount of information. The three sites I focused on were CoSpaces, Scratch, and Tinkercad. First trick was to find the site's privacy policy. While not hard, this is certainly not something that is bold and centered at the top of the page. For all three, at the very bottom of the home page, and it took some scrolling, there was a link under Legal to Terms of Service. With that page, I found a link to the site's privacy policy. In CoSpaces, you have to do this before you log in. In Scratch and Tinkercad, you have to do this before you start working on a project. After reviewing the privacy policy for all three sites, there are some general themes that popped up, some expected, others surprising, particularly in the way the sites use the data they collect. Most of the way the data collected is used to protect the site from users who might be doing illegal things, as well as processing payment and responding to inquiries, things that one might expect. But each site also shared data out with their third-party service providers, and these providers were not identified, so there's no way to track what they do with my data. The sites also tracked cookies and location details, unless the user manually disables that, as well as use broad terms like using data for operating our business activities that can encompass many things. Another surprising thing I found out is that all three sites can make use of your content in a variety of ways. For example, Tinkercad's privacy statement says that you grant to us and our affiliates a worldwide, royalty-free, fully paid-up, perpetual, non-exclusive, transferable, and fully sub-licensable through multiple tiers, right and license, but not the obligation, to reproduce, distribute, redistribute, modify, translate, adapt, prepare derivative works of, display, perform, each publicly and otherwise use all parts of your content by any and all means and through any media and formats now known or hereafter discovered, but solely in connection with the service and/or our business activities, such as without limitation for promoting and marketing the service, and/or to comply with legal or technical requirements. Additionally, to the extent permitted under applicable law, you hereby waive and agree not to assert any and all rights that you may have under laws worldwide that concern moral rights or joint moral, or similar rights in connection with your content. So essentially, anything I give them, whether it be personal information or content, these companies can use in a variety of ways, and by using the site, I automatically consent to let them do that. If companies that only collect a minimal amount of data are doing this, I can only imagine what a company like Facebook might be doing. It's important to understand that anything you put on the internet could potentially be seen by anyone. By creating content, you are giving people insight into how you think and what your interests are. You allow them to view a bit of your soul, and you have little idea or recourse as to what these companies might do with that information. If you create something that revolves around an interest or a hobby, unscrupulous people might find ways to use that information against you. Students, in fact everybody, need to make sure that what they put on the internet is something potentially the whole world may know about forever. In the future, I'm going to be more aware of what the students are creating and make them more aware that what they might think is funny, others might find offensive or find ways to use against you. You cannot assume that anything is private just because you have to put in a username and password. And it's important to think about the ramifications of what you post before you click submit.